taxes, inflation, and the breakdown of the family are causing us to fall behind. We have the lowest net worth in the United States, and I'm sure those numbers cross the border as well.
Some people get the disability tax credit and they don't open the registered disability savings plan, and that's where the government puts in all the money of grants and bonds for a person with a disability who has done all the steps. Some people don't do all the steps.
Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I'm also the co-host and co-producer of the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and being part of that team, reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. As always, like to say, you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And good morning, Ryan Knight.
Yeah, good to see you, Dr. Vibe. For those that may have forgotten who I am one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage the business is in and then help them create a strategy to grow their companies exponentially. And I am an entrepreneur myself. I run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to people's houses or their offices, clean their cars on the spot without using water, and our plant-based eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And inch by inch, we're moving towards spring, so we're looking forward to the next season.
Yeah, that's what our producer said. She's waiting for spring to come.
What I should be doing is opening up in Jamaica so that while you're out there, you can oversee our operations. But we have to send you out there at least once a year to do the show, because I love the backdrop. You look well-fed, well-rested.
Well, it's been an interesting. Well, let's just put it this way: I have good blood, and the mosquitoes can verify it.
Oh no!
That always happens for me. And actually, I've had a little bit of a cold being here, which is a little bit challenging when it's but I'd rather have a cold when it's really hot than when it's really cold.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, it's business-wise, there's lots of opportunity down here.
Oh, nice.
There is lots and lots.
You said you're in Montego Bay area?
Yes, about 10 minutes drive from Montego Bay Airport. Mm-hmm. If I stand up, I can look over and see the harbor over there. I can just overlook and take a look, but there's lots of business opportunity here.
Okay.
A lot of business opportunity down here. Just the key thing is knowing the right people.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But we went, was it 2 days ago? We went to a place, Liti, and we went on how can I say? I don't know. It's a boat made out of bamboo.
Okay. Like one of those flat ones, or like a boat?
Flat one, but it had a seat at the end.
Oh.
You go down and the guy's driving, you're going down the river, and then you get to a certain place, they stop and they give you massages with limestone.
Okay, nice.
So good.
Right.
So good. It was so amazing. But the business, when was the last time you worked in Jamaica?
That would have been for my brother's wedding, when they did a destination wedding. Oh my goodness, 2021?
Oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
Was after COVID then?
Right. So it was it after or just before? So it might have been 2019. I have to actually check.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're just before COVID hit.
I would say there's definitely opportunity down here for entrepreneurs. Well, Jamaicans are entrepreneurs by heritage, but and the houses down here, some of the houses, out of bounds.
Oh, okay.
Like, because not only there's some really nice houses, but like you have houses on hillsides looking over the city.
Whoa. And the prices, prices
are not too bad.
Yeah.
The only thing here, if you're a Canadian, everything here is in US dollars.
Gotcha. So you're getting that 30% bump, but then still you're saying it's reasonable in comparison.
Well, I've been chatting with a number. There's a gentleman that's here. We went down. His place is about 10-15 minutes drive from here. He has, I would call it, and I think I mentioned it on Friday, like an upscale hostel place. And people come in from all around the world. He drives them. They can sleep there. He takes them all around, whatever. So him and his wife, though, also own a pub in England.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
They came down. He came back here. I don't know if he was born here. His dad was born here. He came down here. He saw the opportunity because they're in the hospitality industry of opening up something here. And when he was all for it, but he brought down his wife on another trip, and she saw the vision and she just ran with it.
Gotcha.
So they have the heads. So they're opening up another one of these on the island. When I'm down there just looking at business opportunities.
Nice.
I'm just looking at like how money can be made down here. Like if you have a business that is totally virtual, you're good here.
Oh, true. Exactly.
You get all your payments done online, virtually. Like if it wasn't for some things here, and I'm actually thinking about to be down here at least a month or two every year, starting.
What? Like escaping during the winter kind of thing?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And actually ironic. And we've been trying to cross paths when were you on for that? You weren't on for that conversation, Ray McMillan and Unique?
No, right. Yeah, but
they're having their wealth summit in about 2 weeks here. And Ray was on in the comments on Friday and says, "How long are you staying down there for?" He says, "Why?" He says, "Should just hang out and just go to the summit." I said, and it's funny. It's they're holding it in Montego Bay and Unique. Actually, one of the speakers they have there is Sean DeFreitas.
Okay, hey, nice.
So Sean is coming down, and so just to tell you guys what it's like right now. I'm in the shade. It's overcast. It's 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 80 degrees. So you're looking about 25 degrees Celsius at 9:07 in the morning on March 3rd.
Well, to let you know, yesterday in the evening with wind chill, it was negative 26 Celsius.
You're kidding me.
The cold snapped again. This weekend was,
You're
chilly.
Kidding me.
So 15 and then negative 26 with the wind chill.
Oh my gosh.
So today's still chilly, not as chilly as yesterday, but yeah.
Well, look who's in the comments. Good morning, gentlemen. You've caught the bug, Dr. Vibe. The Caribbean is a place of tremendous opportunity. Ray, you know what? The last time I was down here in 2020, I saw that, but even more so now, and getting a chance to just see a lot of businesses in action, and they're people that my dad knows. And a lot of them are relatives. Like there's a lady coming to visit us today who's a relative. She operates a bed and breakfast in the Grill.
Okay. Right.
And she wants to talk about maybe promoting her place on the show.
Oh, nice.
The nice thing about it,
fan base in Jamaica.
Hey, can't go wrong.
Nice.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong being global, right? It's just been really, really good. And the business opportunities are immense here. Just the key thing is, if you're not here, having the right people to deal with it, and we already have that as a family down here. We have the right people in place.
Right.
That is the small. That was the most difficult part. Even right here, the front yard I'm talking or sharing with you guys this morning. It's my uncle, and he is like a justice of the peace for years down here.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's all good. And like, what's the other day I saw Alfa Romeo driving around.
Okay, you see it?
People, well, they're flaunting, and they're finding ways of making it going. What we'll do was we're going to go on a break because you, when you came on in the green room, said it's been a tough year.
Yes,
and I want to get into that and just how people are doing these days, because it sounds like a lot of people are going through challenging stuff, and I'm also in the same boat. I'm not hearing from some people. When I don't hear from some people, I get concerned. Also, you've got some. Well, at the end of this month, you got an event coming up. We also can talk about. Did people participate in the blackout day on February 28th, where they didn't buy anything?
I totally heard about that after it happened. I did not know it was because you would think leading up to it there'd be some buzz, but was that like a global thing or just US was more pushing it?
I think it was more of a US thing, but
Yeah.
we can share about that. I've got some thoughts on that also.
Mhm.
What we're going to do is we're going to go to a break. It's the Morning Vibe on the first Monday in March. We're already 2 months down, but it seems like it's taken forever for January and February. The weather, at least Toronto side, has just been so for the last few months. So we'll go on a break and we'll come right back as the taxi just goes by. So we'll see you back in about 30 seconds. You know what time it is? It's Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala.
He wants to either kick this man out or take over. And that's the thing that should scare everyone.
Will they begin at the end of winter? Will they begin at the beginning of summer? But one thing that's for sure, there will be protests.
We are already at this risk. We've already passed it. There is no putting things back in the box. Now we just all have to ride this roller coaster screaming.
All right, we are back on the Morning Vibe live from, is it Ajax or Whitby for you?
Oh, Ajax. Yes.
Ajax, Ontario, Canada, and Montego Bay, Jamaica on March the 3rd. And we are here. And before we get to some other conversation topics and saying hello to some people here, as always, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. We have officially cleanly now past 1,700 subscribers, which is beautiful. And I think part of it is two of the ladies you saw in that last montage. Well, everyone on that last montage, because Aisha and Lala, their shorts are getting lots of views that I'm posting up there. And Cesar Nadima Musa, a lot of people are watching the episodes of Black Canada Talking. A lot.
Gotcha.
A lot of people. And actually, I posted a recent episode a while back where Perry Douglas was on talking about 47. That got a ridiculous amount of views.
Nice. That's great.
So I want to thank everyone who's making that happen. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on LinkedIn and Instagram. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow.com. To advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm on, email me at dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow. Can't forget Dr. Tachi, Indie Soup TV.
Yes.
I believe it relaunches for a new season this week. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Tachi. There is the YouTube address. There is the website. Let's see if we can help them get 25,000 subscribers in the next few weeks.
Amazing. Absolutely.
All right. We've got some people in the comments section. Dr. Tachi says, good morning, all. Good morning to you, Dr. Tachi. Opal Inspired. Good morning, Opal Inspired. And hope you got back to Toronto safe. And thank you, Dr. Tachi. Congrats on 1,700. I still got a ways to go to Indie Media, but it's something good to chase after.
Yes.
And Dr. Tachi says it does relaunch today. So there you go.
Solid.
So make sure you follow Indie Soup Media. It relaunches today. And that's that. So Ryan, before we went live, when you jumped in, you said it's been a challenging year. Would you like to expound on that?
Absolutely. It's been a year of more funerals than I've been to last year. And the unfortunate thing is that it's young and old. A gentleman that I was good friends with, a business colleague, passed away that turning 47, and I'm 42. So you start to really do some introspection. And then a family friend, their father passes away. And you start to realize a lot of people, especially in our entrepreneur network, when you talk to them, they're taking care of their parents. And so this is the time when we're starting to think about the generation ahead of us any call, anything that people get sick or have to go to the hospital, that could be it. Like, it's not guaranteed anymore that everybody is just gonna bounce back from ailments that they have. We're seeing a lot of illness just linger, like things that people used to just bounce back from, colds, flus. It seems to just be lingering, and it gets depressing. Because right after you get over morning one, it's like the next one hits you. So the beginning of this year has been like just trying to bounce back and get back into the groove after, you're dealing with passing. And I don't know how people do it, but it's one of the traits of being a human, that resiliency. You can see it in action. It's like being able to bounce back, because a person passing, especially when you're really close to them, and you see how their family takes it, and it's like everybody deals with death differently. So not everybody can just bounce back right away, but then we always find a way to get back to living our lives. So it's just interesting to observe, like how people deal with death, how different send-offs. We're seeing traditional church send-offs. We're seeing more celebration of life send-offs where it's not more of a service. It's interesting just to see people's beliefs as well, ranging from cremation to burials. Death is it pauses life. Like when a death happens, it seems like everything pauses as you're dealing with that, and then you have to restart the engine. So it's been on my mind.
Well, first things first, I want to wish condolences to both the families.
Yeah, appreciate
First
that.
and foremost. Second of all, I'll go there. When I was younger, there was a period of time that like you're somewhat going through now, but there was a period of about 3 or 4 months, like death.
Right.
It got to the point where I didn't want to answer a phone.
Oof.
Because it was just another person passing away. And also, too, with my parents being older, a lot of people from their generation are passing away, and they talk about death, this person passing away, that person passing away. And when you talk about resiliency, yes, we see resiliency on the outside, but we don't know what's going on the inside.
Yes, true.
Right? You can't judge a book by its cover on what's going on the inside with people. And death is one of those things that, and I agree with you now, living a little bit of time now, when you see people who are much younger than you passing away, your same age.
Right.
That's one of the things that I've really made a chance to, that especially during and post pandemic. And I think I've mentioned a few times on the show here that during the pandemic, I got a call from a gentleman who I used to play football and rugby with from my high school. Hadn't heard from the guy in years.
Right.
Said, hey, how you doing? I said, fine. He says, a bunch of us guys from football and rugby are getting together. Why don't you come over and hang out? I said, okay, like when you're doing it. He told me it was a Sunday afternoon. I said, well, I'll just be a good guy and hang out for about an hour.
Right.
We met in our high school parking lot.
Okay, nice.
And I thought I was only going to be there for an hour, 4 hours.
Right.
So these are gentlemen I had not seen since high school.
Oh, man.
Since high school. It then has generated, and now that every year we all get together and do 18 holes of golf every year. And the craziest thing is, my high school gym teacher is still alive.
Okay.
And plays much better golf than I do.
Oh, that's so wild. I was at my parents' house yesterday and saw a picture of my old, oh my gosh, what's middle school? 6 to 8. So the coach of flag football and the coach, and my sister was asking, "Is like, yo, do you think Mr. Cunningham's still alive?" I was like, I don't know. I have to go and check in. And
I would do that.
Right?
If you can do that, I'd do that just to see that my high school football and gym teacher is still alive, because we did the golf thing again. He's still alive. And just going, wow. And a lot of guys who I played football with, and it's that once in a year thing that we get together, and it's just a good time. Like I would say 10 or 15 years ago, I would never thought about doing that. But now, because time never lost a fight, I make those moments and we text each other once in a while, see how everyone's doing. But if you can get doing that now, getting in touch with some of the people, because you don't, unfortunately, you're going to get to a point where you're going to see all these people at funerals.
And that's the unfortunate part, is that it becomes the time that you actually reunite with people is either a wedding or a funeral. And we're kind of past the wedding, like, phase. So now it's only reconnecting at funerals. And it's unfortunate that that would be, because it's not a real reconnection. It's more of people arriving to support a family. Yeah. It's not a time that you can really share what's happening amongst each other. It's kind of just like really focused on being supportive for the family that you're there for. So it doesn't really count, you know, it as a true time to reconnect.
When you do things like that, it's more transactional than relational.
Exactly, like you being able to meet with your past high school friends, and
that's it's. I mean, I look forward to
wholesome, right? You just get to chop it up and not feel right.
Yeah, it's such a great experience. We got Ray has a comment. I saw some comments here. Let me come back here. All right, let me just using the old laptop. Yeah, Ray says, you put that very well, Ryan, and you start to think of your own mortality. I made the promise to myself a few years ago to stop attending funerals. It can be very wearing indeed. Wow, that's being open, Ray.
Right.
That's very interesting.
I would love to extend on that, because there's a point, my grandparents on my mother's side, they passed when she was very young. So I never met them, and then didn't go through the process of them passing. And then my dad's parents passed recently, like between the last 5 years, they both passed. So now there was a gap there where nobody passed away. And then it was my dad's mom that was kind of the first major passing, and that was like 10 years ago. So for 35 years of my life, there was nobody that passed, because my mom had me young, so, and her parents had already passed. My dad, he had me young, so his parents were living long. All my uncles, all my aunts are young, so nobody in the family is really passing away. And then it totally flips over, where it's like grandma passes, and then grandpa passes. It becomes, like you said, there's a time where it just is back to back to back, or it feels that way, where it's like, oh man, and who's next? You're just looking around. If people that you haven't talked to in a while call, you're getting nervous because you're like, and then sometimes they'll call you like, oh, are you sitting down? And you're like, oh man, what's happening? You know, it's just, it becomes that stage or phase where, you know, any day you can get that call. So going from a time when that call was decades apart, and now it's like weeks apart, it's a whole transition for you mentally. It's like you dealing with a person passing. And again, because we all deal with it differently, that's where you see a person's true nature when they have to deal with death. Like, that is raw, just instinctual. You can't fault a person for how they deal with somebody passing, even though it's not how you deal with it. It's like you have to adapt to how people are going through it.
Sure. No, I always say, and I'm sure I said it a number of times on the show, it's always interesting when people handle at least 4 moments in life: birth, marriage, if there's a divorce, and death.
Right.
Those are 4 pillars right there, how people handle those things. Frequency Rep Mode says, good day, Dr. Vibe and Ryan Knight. Hello. And Frequency Rep Mode says, it's important to play a role in your development or success to check in with the folks. Yes, it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, it is. Frequency Event Promotions also says, hence why, Ryan, I try to remember folks' birthday, or just try to check in with folks for a pulse check. Yeah, that's an important thing. especially if you're a guy.
Okay.
On the whole, ladies are a little bit, from my experience, ladies are better in with checking in with each other than guys are. But a lot of guys, there are a number of guys out there that are screaming and nothing's coming out.
And I'm not sure if you saw, I think over the weekend, so Vibes Cartel was trying to have a serious conversation about guys not being able to really talk to each other. And it was interesting because my wife was telling me about it. And so when he brought it up, it's like, oh, you know, if you're having trouble in the bedroom or if you're just having a mental health issue. And then the guys that are talking to that are interviewing him just start laughing. But he was actually trying to be serious. So it's interesting when we do want to have serious conversations, like who in your network can you actually call? Because some people are just golf buddies. Some people are just, you know, go out to the club friends. They can't really have a serious conversation because it just becomes comical. And it's a time when you don't want it to be comical, right? So it's interesting who you have in your ecosystem to talk to.
Well, do you have guys in your ecosystem that you can have those talks with?
A couple, yeah. And luckily I was like having lunch with one of them yesterday, my boy Ken, and it was good that he got to talk about things he's going through. I got to talk about like what I'm going through. But two, like if two, there's gentlemen in my life that I can call and say, hey, this is what I'm going through, or I just need to vent about something. But beyond that, like other people that you're colleagues with, it's a whole different conversation with them. You don't even, some people you don't even want to show cracks in the armor. You know, you have to always be on kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. And for me, who told me this? Someone told me this a long time ago. The number of close friends you have should not be more than the 5. If you have 5 fingers on your hand, 5 on your hand.
Gotcha.
You have those people, then you have people. You have to realize there's some people that are going to be around you for a season.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have people that you think are going to be with you that for some reason just drop off.
Right.
And I think those can be the challenging people that you think, hey, we're in this together, and all of a sudden they just jump. In the past, I didn't handle those situations well, but now I said, you know what? Everyone walks through the world differently. And the thing is, you just got to be ready. It's how you react. Whether it happens or not, it's just how you react to it. And the only thing, at the best of times, the only person you can control is yourself.
True. And one thing that I appreciate that you do actually is when you ask how you're doing, or when you're asking me, you actually care about the answer. And I don't know a lot of people that, because we're so used to just like, oh, how you doing? Am I good? But when you actually care about the response you're gonna get, the person will stop and talk to you or actually think about it. And every time you ask me, it makes me kind of pause and actually think, because you care about the answer. You know, so people that we're checking in with, try not to make it just transactional or mechanical. Actually want to know. But I can also see where it gets taxing when you're talking to people, because when they realize that there's an ear to listen, they can unload a lot of stuff. And
well, you know, and it's interesting you mentioned that, because sometimes you have to be careful to ask someone how they're doing, because you don't know what you're going to get back. And are you ready to get whatever? You know, you've got to be ready for whatever. In a professional realm, if I'm having a professional meeting, I say, hey, look, really happy that we're having this meeting today. I'm looking forward to getting in and get involved. If I ask how you're doing, sometimes that meeting will never happen. We'll just be stuck on that thing. If I just take the thing maybe after we get accomplished, we can chat about things. But the main thing is the main thing. But sometimes we'll just people unload, and I'm not a therapist. I'm just there to hear. Yeah. And if they want my input, I'll provide suggestions, but I don't tell people what to do, because if you tell someone what to do and it doesn't work out, you better have good insurance.
Oh man, what do they call it? The errors and omissions insurance.
There you go. Exactly.
Yes.
Make sure you have good errors and omission insurance.
Yes.
We can see if I promote. Oh, Frequency Event Promotion says, Ryan, you can call me anytime, brother. No cap.
Yeah, appreciate that.
And then he also says, Dr. Vibe, you're so very right. Trust me. What am I right about? I'm right about something. I need to highlight those rare moments. Ray
Yes.
says, I think for most men it is difficult to have 4 or 5 real close friends. We are so tight with our space, physical, I like that, physical and emotional, that it could make those connections very difficult. True. But
Absolutely.
I agree with that, Ray. And it's up to each guy to make the first step. They have to make that. You can provide that environment around them, but they still may not be ready. But the thing is, providing that safe and brave space. And thank you, because when I do ask, I do care. And a little, I'll just say, won't get too deep. A little while back, Ryan couldn't make it to a show, and I asked him if everything's okay, and he said yes. And I didn't want to be honest, I didn't want to hear a text message. I wanted to hear it from his voice, but I'm good with that for the time. But sometimes, as I say with people, if you want to just convey facts, text message, email, WhatsApp message is good. But when it involves emotion, I think it's either best to do a video call or over a phone, because text message can be so misinterpreted.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay. Frequency Event Promotion says, how people come and go faster. They say, how are you? I don't understand that question.
Oh, you're saying he agreed with that last comment, where when we're just interacting with people and saying, how are you? It's such a quick transactional thing instead of actually pausing and hearing it out.
Yeah, and it also depends the level of relationship with that individual too. Like you got to know your boundaries. First of all, you got to have boundaries, and then you got to know your boundaries. So it's really important to have both those things in line. Okay, Frequency Rebel says, thanks, Ryan. Ba, 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 ba. By the way, your favorite president last Friday?
Oh, Lord have mercy. I think we are on a TV show. I honestly, this has become theater. But finish your thought. I'm sorry. For those that might have missed it.
All right. The 47th president of the United States, and all of a sudden his vice president came out of nowhere.
He's appeared like, I thought this guy disappeared, man. I hadn't heard anything much from him.
Well, in many commentators' minds, did a bully session on the president of Poland. Now, if you really think, I think it was a setup. I think it was a setup.
They wanted a gotcha moment, like from reality TV, where the producers create a scenario where it's just gonna be shock value for TV. It's like, okay, now we're gonna go to dinner. Although they were in the Oval Office, so it wasn't even like a passing event. It was an event about negotiations for, I guess, Ukraine to give concessions on minerals that they have, for the support of the continued support of the U.S. And it turned into, well, how do you describe it? It turned into a blame game. It turned into almost like, without our help, you're dead.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to do anything that we say, because as soon as we stop helping you, you guys are done. But with no tact, like just. And
hold on a second. Hold on. Oxymoron, 47 and tact.
But this is the thing. So this display, I'm trying to understand and see how his followers spin it.
No, they're taking it as America first.
Yeah, but it doesn't land at all.
No, the challenging thing is, if he gets, it was almost like, yeah, American first, but Putin wins.
And that's where I'm not understanding his end game, because now
his end
fighting
game is
so hard.
he wants to be a dictator like Putin. So he 47 emulates dictators like Putin, the guy in, is it South Korea or North Korea?
North Korea, right.
Yeah, and there's another guy, is it Victor from I don't know what country. So, you know, he's, you know, so if he gets what he wants, Putin will be able to just charge it through, and he'll just continue on, go through Europe. And he obviously 47 doesn't care about Europe either. He's this America first policy.
We're seeing it.
Frequency of promotions goes, hold on, Dr. Vibes. I saw your skin look polished. He had nothing. Just took a shower this morning. That was it, buddy.
Yes.
Dr. Touches, but are you surprised at this behavior? No, not at all.
But that's what's so wild, is that it's not shocking, but it feels like we're in a TV show because the script keeps playing out. You're waiting for where cooler heads prevail.
No.
They actually want to get stuff done.
No.
But instead, it's like Act 2, you know, and it's just theater, like anything and everything that you could have scripted, the way that people thought that this presidency was going to go, it just feels like it's playing out. It's like,
but people need to realize there was that document called Project 2025, which 47 said he knew nothing about. Right. Like one of the people who formulated that document is now the head of the on Office of the Budget Management, which controls all the money that gets flowed out of the government.
Look at that.
Yep. Dr. Tai says, which is why Canada needs to be on guard. You will become like Ukraine, right? Hey,
it's his testing ground. He's named a few countries that he wants to test, just acquiring. So
here, Dr. Tai says, there are no cool heads here. Those of us that are New Yorkers knew why he was fully capable of this nonsense. Absolutely. You know what is funny though is, up until recently, the number one YouTube channel out there was Joe Rogan.
Okay.
No longer.
Wow.
There is a YouTube channel called The Midas Touch, and they have passed Rogan in
really.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I became aware of them during the campaign. As some of their
they're like on the hour. They're on 47. Like, I mean, they're on 47. So that tells you what's going on. But that was like, wow. I went, really? I said, no surprise. Yeah.
But this is where I want. Okay, so let's say over the next week or two, if he actually gets what he wants in the negotiation, then I can see this being, okay, his style. However, people that don't like his style may think, if it gets what they want done, then you have to at least respect the ability for him to execute what they want to get done. Like this Project 25 or whatever he's trying to do with Putin. But if he actually doesn't get what he wants, then this style doesn't even execute his own negotiating approach. Like it doesn't get him what he wants. It just is theater. Like that's where I'm seeing it as a TV show where there was something that he wanted to get out of this deal and he didn't get it so far. So the Zelensky left and did not sign the agreement. So now it's, what was the point of that? Like, what was the point of cussing him off if he didn't get
it? All for show.
But but if it's all for show, then the people that are following him are being duped, like they're being manipulated to think.
You're just saying that now? You just think about that now?
But there were certain things that he, even if you don't like his character and his approach, there was things that he promised to people that voted for him that they're now not getting. That's where I'm like, but why are they still defending this guy when they're not getting what they were promised? Like if his style is he still has time
right?
True.
Remember, we're only 5 or 6 weeks in.
That's where it's like, it just seems like theater, man.
Only 5,
all...
and the first big measuring point will be the next set of midterms.
Well, I'm more curious about, so tomorrow, I believe the tariffs against Canada and some others are supposed to come online.
Yep.
And the things that he wanted to get out of that, I believe Canada's already made concessions on. They increased border security. There was something else that he wanted. I think it was just the Border Act. It was whatever he requested, or increase in defense spending. So those things were received, but now tariffs are still coming. So now, if this is a tactic that he's going to use, Canada is showing weakness, because if you just can keep threatening something and keep getting additional things, and the threat will always be there, you're literally just a lapdog to his whims. We have to show that these tariffs are not going to bankrupt Canada. I feel like the way that our politicians are reacting, like, this isn't something that you have to lay down and give everything that somebody is demanding because of these tariffs. Yes, it will be difficult. I'm not saying the tariffs are just going to make business easier, but it's also not something that you can just allow to be dangled over your head in infinitum. Like, you have to draw the line. If it's coming tomorrow, let it come, and then we'll deal with it, and we'll go back to our negotiations. It can't be this is always going to be over your head. This is what I want.
But that's the way he rolls.
But that's why we can't negotiate like that. Like, this doesn't work for Canada. And it's not working because people are just in no man's land. People don't really understand if it's coming. If it is coming, what does it mean? That's not a good place to be for business.
No, it's not. And I was listening this morning, very prominent business organization in the States surveyed a whole bunch of businesses, and like 80% of them said tariffs are not good for America.
I agree. But it has to be, it's coming or it's not. It can't be, it's coming unless you do this, and then you do that. Okay, but it's still coming unless you do something else.
But that's part of negotiation. You got to push and see how far you can get.
But this is where Canada can't let that continue indefinitely. Like, our politicians have to be able to draw that line to say either it's coming and we'll deal with it, or what is it what are we negotiating? And if we can execute that, that is done. It can't be, okay, we did that for you, and then you're going back to Mar-a-Lago. Okay, what else? Are you okay now? Are you okay? Like, it's a zero leverage. Like, there's no leverage on the side of Canada right now. That's where our politicians have to figure out how to switch that.
Yeah, but if you really look down to it, though, the U.S. has the stick in this, right? If you really look at it, more population, more this and this. The thing that Canada suggests to do, whatever happens out of this, A, break down provincial trade barriers, and B, start aligning with Europe as a trade partner.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
There's a lot of interprovincial trade barriers in Canada that's holding up a lot of trade in between the provinces. Those need to be, my suggestion is that they need to be knocked down to make it easier for trade between the provinces.
Right.
Just a thought. What else you want to chat about? I have at least one or two more things.
Well, curious if you're following the provincial election here.
Yes. What are your thoughts on Mr. Ford?
It seems his plan worked. They, I think, only lost one seat, so still have a majority, but the Liberal government was able to now become a party of official party status. And
without a leader,
Bonnie Crombie lost her. So one thing that a lot of people are not talking about that I'm very curious. So the person that she lost to, Sylvia, is the mother-in-law of Patrick Brown, who Bonnie Crombie and Patrick Brown were, I don't say at odds, but Bonnie Crombie is what brought in them trying to separate Peel. So Brampton and Mississauga and Caledon all formed Peel, and Bonnie Crombie was the mayor of Mississauga that wanted to split it apart. So now there was kind of some angst between the two. So I'm so curious how much resources Patrick Brown was able to rally to make sure she was defeated in her own riding. Because I know if that was me, every volunteer, whoever supported me when I was running for leader of Conservatives, and they are going to that riding and defeating that person that I do not like. But yeah, I haven't heard many people talk about his involvement.
That's an interesting take.
Right?
Very interesting take. Dr. Tachi says Rogan is rogue. His podcast, Bro Promotion of Extremists, is also responsible for this. All right, yeah, getting back to that, that's a very interesting. I never thought about that. I did hear that the lady who beat Crombie was related in some way to Patrick Brown. I go,
Listen,
very
that she's going down.
So, in retrospect, though, was that election necessary?
It depends what side you're on. For the Conservatives, very necessary. It was a time to strike while the iron's hot. You don't want the Liberal government to be able to catch momentum, whatever attack ads they're going to do against Ford and the Conservatives. Eventually, people will realize that the promises made by the Conservatives might not have all panned out. A lot of scandal, a lot of very controversial moves with the Ontario Science Centre. So as the Liberals start to get people on board with getting back to Liberal, because remember, the Liberals were in power for at least 3 terms before Ford had come in and they fell apart. So there is a base that will vote Liberal once they feel it's back on its feet. So now the Conservatives can't wait for that to happen. So they're like, okay, we can reset this and get at least a 4-year runway. So for them, it was a great move. They maintained power. They increased, I think, the popular vote, they said. So it was great for them. And now for the only losers in this, I feel, are the NDP, because the NDP have not shown a true opposition to the Conservatives. They lost seats now that people are coming back from the Liberal side, and they haven't really shown any game plan of how they could become the majority, even a minority. Like they have no momentum. They're only momentum going backwards. So for the Liberals, they were able to. So I wasn't sure why they were upset that they called the election, because the longer they're not an official party, get that dealt with. So that, to the Liberals, I think it was good. NDP bad, and Conservatives, they were able to reset the clock. So I think it was great for them.
No, and I'm trying to remember, did the Liberals get more of the percentage of the popular vote than the NDP? Like, the NDP has more seats than the Liberals, or does the Liberals have more seats than NDP?
So NDP still has more, so they're still the.
But the Liberals had more of the percentage of popular vote.
Right? Yeah, I think they had 45%.
Okay.
So that's where the NDP is going back. So that's what I was saying. The base is there, ready for the Liberals to be. I won't say prepared, but it's like when the Liberals get their act together, they have a base of voters that can flip this power, but they're just not there yet. Like, Bonnie Crombie needs to figure out how, and that's where her losing her seat really kind of knocks them back because she could have leaned into, even though she wouldn't be the official opposition, she'd be in Parliament to kind of start to, show that leadership quality, asking questions, putting pressure. With her outside of the hall, it's going to be difficult for her to do that, to get that momentum. But they had to at least get to official party status. Now they'll have more money, I believe, for their next campaign.
Yes.
So I don't see why they were against. That's why the messaging that they come out with, the Liberals, about, this election isn't, it's a waste of time. Like, why say that? Like, no, you should have said, thank you, Ford, for calling the election. We've been waiting because it's time for the Liberals to get back to prominence. It's time for the Liberals to reassert ourselves. Forget like crying about the election being called. Make it a positive thing that you can leverage and get people back that are dormant. There are Liberal voters that are just defeated from the pressure of what Ford has done over the last 2 terms. You need to reignite those people, and they are there waiting that Liberals are back solid. So they missed the messaging that they could have really ran with. And same with the NDP. Like, I don't know. It's tough because you watch like the marketing of it, right? I remember when we were covering one of the elections and we were looking at all the candidates and how their campaigns are going, what their websites were like. It can be embarrassing the way people run their campaigns.
Yes.
Like, total missed opportunity.
What impact? Okay, actually, 2 comments here. Cena's case says, as I'm listening to friends and colleagues, a lot of people do not like Bonnie Crombie, which was evident in how she did overall. And then she puts Ryan from Gala King to political pundit. There you go.
And I like, because with us, when we're talking, we are true residents that observe politics. We see what's happening. So it's really, as a person, that I'm trying to decide, okay, who am I going to vote for? What am I seeing? And I'm on a newsletter for the NDP. And so I've seen like their messaging for the past 2-3 years. And you're like, there's nothing there that really would captivate a person to switch. With the Conservatives, their mandates. Like, hey, if you're with us, you're with us. So they have their base, similar to the Republicans in the US. And then the Liberals is the one that people have to emotionally be ready to just get back on board, because the way that they were defeated is really devastating. Was really devastating to the point where it became embarrassing to say you're a Liberal. It's like, so now there's a lot of people quiet in that camp that they need to respark to say, hey, it's okay to be liberal again. Right? That's where I love seeing how these dynamics are playing out.
What message, if at all, does this say to Poilievre?
Well, they usually say that if Ontario is conservative, then federal will be liberal, and if federal is conservative, then provincial will be liberal. If that is true, it doesn't look good for Poilievre, because he's seeing polls that are showing if Carney wins this week, which is the Liberal race happening this week for the Liberal federal government, if it's true that the Liberals are gaining back momentum and people don't want to see conservative federal, conservative provincial, he could have the worst loss, I would say, in the history of federal politics. Because for Trudeau to leave, a new person to come in, and then still beat the Conservatives, he would lose his leadership position or his job as leader, I think, and then that would cause another at least 1 or 2 terms where the Conservatives are trying to get back to finding a proper leader, fixing the party, getting behind his mandate, and the Liberals will just be in power for 8 more years if they do not win this next election.
So at this time, is Mr. Poilievre's biggest enemy Mark Carney or 47?
I haven't seen people tie the messaging from US to Poilievre yet. So he's lucky in that regard. If they figure out a way to tie in what's happening with Trump to him, he's doomed. Like, Canada they're still booing the American anthem at games and events, even at the wrestling event, WWE. Yes. So there's a big disdain with the US in Canada. if that disdain gets painted onto Polyev, he can't even win this next election. He has to figure out how to keep that off of him. But if he can navigate that, he'll win. But if he gets caught up in being compared to Trump or cozying up to Trump or not being able to be forceful with Trump, he's doomed.
So C-Nurse K says Ford used clear, simple messaging. You focus a lot on fighting 47 terrorists and patriotism, which resonate with people. Personally, I will never vote against my interests as a healthcare worker. There you go.
But
Then let me ask you then, who would you trust more right now dealing with 47, Carney or Polyev?
that's an interesting question.
Based that we don't know a lot about either one
I
of them.
wouldn't see Polyev being like a forceful. I can see him having more in common than pushing back against. And that's just my personal opinion. I don't know if that's true. I can see Carney now, because he was like leader of the Bank of Canada and the Bank of the UK, he's dealt with powers of the world and had to negotiate and get things done with different powers around the world. So I don't see him laying down as easily as I would see a Polyev, because Polyev wants that favor and could show like, hey, we're in alignment. We have similar interests. Carney, I can see more resistant to what Trump is trying to do. That's just like from the outside looking in.
I wonder if Mr. Polyev would be asking help to win this election from his conservative friends in the U.S.
Then you're gonna get a lot of that stink on you.
if they do it and if it gets found out, let's put it that way.
But that's so better question, and I'm curious who you think could push back against 47 better, Polyev or Carney. I'm curious your thoughts there first before I ask my next question.
I would say Carney because he has more experience doing it at that level, especially economically.
And I feel the same. So now, who do you think 47 actually would rather be prime minister? Polyev or Carney? You see, so that's where the stink of 47 can start to get on Polyev, because Trump's going to start saying nice things about him. And once that happens, you'll realize that's the guy he wants. I think that would cause an adverse effect.
I could see 47 saying he wants Polyev to be the next governor of the 51st state.
That's absolute. But then that actually might be good for Polyev, because he can push back against that. He can say there's no chance. He can like fully deny it. Like, hey, if I win, we're going to war with the US. Like, he could get very defensive against 47 if he starts talking about that annexing Canada stuff. And that would help him. If Trump just talks about wanting Polyev in power, and then Polyev is like, okay, not the 51st state stuff, but just saying he'd rather him as a prime minister, let's say. That's where people are going to start connecting him with the U.S. President.
So C-Nurse K says, I could never support conservatives. They gave us a, quote, COVID retention bonus, unquote, which they turn around and taxed. Would have rather got a Costco gift card.
And so this is what Bonnie Crombie tried to expose, is that the healthcare system is so damaged under Ford. But it was a message that people weren't paying attention to. Nobody really knows how Ford treated the healthcare workers, except for the healthcare workers. So when you hear those questions being asked on the floor during question period, they feel like the conservatives feel like they actually did something good. So all his base is like, oh yeah, we put so much money into healthcare, but it actually didn't translate into better healthcare. So the fact that you put money somewhere doesn't mean that it became good. It just means you threw money at a problem, but the problem is still there. Clearly, it needs more attention, more engagement, more investment. But they know how to. It's amazing watching politicians spin stuff.
Yeah.
Like the way they can just take a question and spin it into their own talking points and then people get amnesia that ask the question, like, and they just let them get away with it. It's like, this is
Yeah, they don't.
like
How
a
many
talent.
politicians? How many politicians these days? When you ask them a question, answer that question instead of spinning off to something else.
Yeah. Now the question is, I'm seeing the Republican pundits, they're asking them direct, who started the war in Ukraine?
Oh
And
God!
they can't, like, they will not answer that question anymore. I was like, is this like 1984, the book where they can just rewrite
Yep.
history on the fly? It, man, I don't know. Like, people that are Republicans should not like the way that their leaders are trying to rewrite history because it does not end well. So,
All right, we got some more comments. Senior's case says, I think Polyev will just give 47 whatever he wants and not have a backbone like the British PM. British PM is stepping up. He's stepping up.
gotcha.
He also says Ford and 47 are friends. I'm sure 47 wants Mr. P. Frequency of Pro says politics and politics. It's funny with this back and turn spin of things. Republicans and conservatives share almost the same ideology, perspectives, and worldview, in my opinion. No a question here. No question probably here. All right.
Right.
And then Senior's case says that's why Ford was so hurt by the tariff threat. Yeah, he said he was caught off guard.
And stabbed in the back. But then that's where it helped him in his campaign. Because if he was initially happy that Trump was in power and Trump didn't do anything that he could start to attack, I think the conservatives would have lost a lot more seats because it would have shown that Ford was more in line with Trump. But because Ford was able to change that messaging to an attack on Trump, an attack on the tariffs, and Canada first, Ontario first, people were able to get behind that, while Bonnie Crombie was trying to talk about people not having doctors, which is super important, but not the focus of the day right now. So the messaging gets lost where it's really important what she's talking about, but Trump was able to jump on a tagline and, like the emotional feelings of Canada right now, he was able to ride. That's why it was a great time for him to call this election, and he saw it. It's like, this is the perfect time.
Snatched it. How much time do you have left? Because I know usually this time you got to jump.
I have 15 minutes. I'm good for 15.
Okay, let's do two quick topics. First of all, and I spoke to Ryan about this, on February 28th, there was basically in America, do not buy anything day. Ryan told me he didn't even hear about it.
Man. So I heard people saying something about a boycott and not shopping, but I didn't know it was like a structured, planned day for the 28th. So what did you hear about it?
Well, yeah, I guess it was targeted against as many companies not to buy anything, to just show how much, because there's a big, capitalism, the big companies have power, but it's just a way of showing companies that, hey, we can band together and for one day not buy anything, to show that we have that. But the challenge I have with that is, and obviously the only reason, from my thought process, the only reason this happened is because 47's in.
Okay, gotcha.
If he was, and the whole DEI thing, which again, my thing about DEI is development, entrepreneurship, and investment, not diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm development, entrepreneurship, investment. That's my DEI.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Well, one thing that we have to realize when you're trying to battle big corporate, they think in quarters. So if you're going to do a blackout,
you have to do a long term.
And then because when that quarterly report comes out and they see a dip of 5-10%, that's going to cause their stock price to drop and they're going to lose a big part of their market share. So if we're serious about showing our economic strength and purchasing power, it has to be long term, like you said. It can't be a day.
Well, I was watching a program down here based on the US, and they came up with a suggestion that what Blacks should do is every Friday for the rest of the year do this.
Okay, interesting.
Which goes along with what you're saying, the long-term thing, right?
They have
one day is just a blip.
they won't even. It's like they won't even be paying attention because people are gonna go buy the next day. Like that is pointless. So, but if they can hold it out for a quarter, that's where the shareholders meetings.
Yeah.
People are gonna be like, "Yo, what happened?" and start to pay attention. But one thing that we need to realize is now. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Cause I was saying with them boycotting. Oh, it's totally gone.
Okay. No worries. A senior's case says I work in acute care at a major downtown hospital where patients are literally living in the hospital for more than a year due to lack of long-term care beds, creating such a bed crunch. Wow.
Do you see?
Wow. Seniors K also says provincial liberals should have focused more on that. And then Frequency Event Promotions says, great show, talk soon. Dr. Vibe, bring me back some sugar cane. And also Dr. Tachi says, this was just one piece of a larger effort. One day makes people realize that they can live without these things that are constantly marketed to them. Then it becomes a habit. We'll see.
But that's where I don't think one day does that. It needs, if it's every Friday. So this is what I was thinking, and it just came back to me. There was a spreadsheet that was created where it showed U.S. companies and different products, and then the Canadian alternative. A spreadsheet that I'm working on is the next column where it should say the Black company alternatives. So that way, anything that you're already buying, you want to find a better alternative than just giving it to current corporate. And if you can find Black companies that actually purchase those things, then you'd be able to get to what Dr. Tachi is saying, is the habit of not just running to Walmart or to Costco for things, but you know which Black company sells cheese or sells shoes or you know where to go, and you have a spreadsheet that can actually point you there. That would make a difference because you've made a complete shift to a different company instead of just saying, I'm not going to buy today, but I'm going to go tomorrow because I still need the eggs from Costco kind of thing. It's like we have to shift where we're actually buying our stuff.
All right, some more. Two friends dropping by. Haven't seen in a bit. Faces by Pureness says, sending love. Right back at you. Continued success, Faces by Pureness, by the way. That is all the wonderful stuff that you're doing. There's comments coming in like crazy. Hold on. Mark Lewis, still waiting to have you on the show, Mark. GameStop the thing. An app based on massive rotating effort, as much as the law would allow. Have you heard of that app, Ryan?
GameStop is doing something?
Well, this is why Mark Lewis has been waiting for a while to have you come on the show because you have such much knowledge. Frequency Event Promotion says, futures by Pureness. How are you? Keep up the great out there. Dr. Tachi says, but Ryan, these things are in existence. I think you are all assuming the only movement that will happen with this is the one day. That's not the case. And she also says there are several entities here who have put together Black buying guides so people have access.
And these are things I'm hoping you're able to share with us because would love to look through and because I didn't hear the lead up to this one that just happened. So I have not heard what the full plan is. So would love to learn about what the
ongoing. One thing, I was reading some articles over the weekend that apparently in the last month or so, foot traffic in Walmart has declined.
Okay, gotcha.
The thing is, where are people taking their foot traffic to?
Are they taking it anywhere? If prices are going up, people might just be buying less. But I'll say I was in Costco on Sunday in Brampton, and that was like cart to cart. It was so busy, I could not believe it.
Costco is ridiculous. Costco is out of bounds.
It was mad. I couldn't believe how busy it was. So consumerism is still there.
Absolutely. Faces by Pureness says, ha ha ha, thanks Frequency. LOL. and he says, "Faces by Pureness, you are always welcome." So we'll end off our conversation today with the transitioning of a neo soul great.
Oh, nice.
Hold on. Well, Dr. has just one more comment here, because Costco is one of the places that to roll back DEI. So people are throwing their support behind them and shopping there.
Okay, and that might be
nice.
why.
It would be nice if there was a black-owned alternative to Costco. That would make it better.
Right, that'd be
But
amazing.
yes, I do, Dr. Tachi, fully agree. They have, and actually too, was it the Apple shareholders voted not to roll back DEI?
Okay.
So there are some companies sitting out there, but remember, yes, there's that DEI, but also think there's other DEIs out there.
Yeah.
Right.
And holy smokes, the Oscars were yesterday. I don't know how many of our family watched that. I only tuned in because Don Lemon, now that he's a YouTube personality,
I watch him periodically. He don't play.
I like his style. And he was doing a watch party watching the Oscars. And the lady that he had on, Tracy, and I don't remember her last name, but she used to be an agent to like the mega stars. She was guessing every single winner. She got like 5 in a row. I was just in awe that she knew who was gonna win what. She knew the costume designer from Wicked was gonna win, which is a black man. So that was cool to see. Nora, I didn't even know about this film. Won Best Adapted.
That's Dr. Tachi's alley, not mine.
Oh, yeah. So that'd be a cool recap, but. Yeah, for those, that was cool to see Conan O'Brien. I know my wife was a big fan of his late night show, so I used to watch him often. But yeah, he was the host. I think it was the first time he ever hosted it.
Okay. So Frequency Remote, he says, Frequency Remote says, going for real now. See y'all on Friday. Also, Dr. Chet says, right, Don Lemon had a watch party. Yeah, I've been checking him in once in a while. He actually appeared, well, that's another conversation on Joy Reid's podcast. That I saw a bit of that.
Okay.
Don did not hold back.
Yeah, he was not impressed with that whole situation.
Mark Lewis says watching it now in the background, so he's watching the Oscars right now in the background. So there you go.
Oh, nice.
We'll end off with this, as we mentioned, and we'll get more into it. The loss of the great Angie Stone.
Yeah, it's so tragic. And I believe it was a car accident, and she was the only person that passed that was in the car. Everybody else.
Out of 9 people.
Oh,
I was blessed to see her perform. Amazing performer, but just to see how she was the only person to pass away.
Yeah, man, that's tough.
Very, very sad. So, rest in power, Angie Stone. One of the queens of the neuro soul.
Yes.
You will be missed, and we know that you're in a better place, and your legacy will live on forever and ever and ever.
Absolutely.
All right.
You're right there.
Drive down here, folks.
Gonna pick you up to go get some patties.
No, man. The patties, actually, the patties here are
really
okay. They're all right. They're all right. We've had lots of different stuff food wise, but it's been okay. It's been okay. But yeah, so Mark Lewis says, and yes, good point. Angie Stone and Roberta Flack. Roberta Flack passed away in the last week too.
Gotcha. Oh wow.
2 queens. 2 queens gone. We have lost. That makes it even harder already, the people that we've lost. And I heard last time the Oscars was a tribute to Quincy Jones last night on the Oscars. I may watch some of it, may not. These days I'm just watching less and less TV. Not into TV that much anymore. Mark Lewis, I'm calling you out. When are you coming on the show, man?
Nice.
So we will be live again on Friday. Brian, will you be available?
I know I'll be able to pop in late, hopefully. I do have to drop off the kiddos. So yeah.
All right.
That's because we have Wayne Harris coming on?
No, well, Wayne is actually traveling.
Oh.
So he won't be with us this Friday. The following Friday he'll be with us. Though coming up on Monday, we will have Carolyn Nicole, who
Mhm.
unfortunately couldn't be there for another expo yesterday.
Gotcha.
But I did have a chance to catch, and I'm going to shoot. Oh, okay. This. So I like put me in the forecast for next quarter, sir. All right. Well, next quarter is a long time, so we'll see. All right, we'll start working on that. Yeah. So Carolyn Nicole, myself, and Ryan will be this Friday. Then so next week, the Monday we'll have Carolyn. The Friday we'll have Wayne Harris, and they haven't responded back. Some way, somehow, we're going to be having XP Eats come on the program.
Okay. Is that with O'Neill?
O'Neill, yes.
Okay.
So those are the people we're looking forward in the next few weeks to having on. And if any of you want to come on, maybe you can come on sooner than Mark Lewis. Just joking. But if you have any guest suggestions, purely provide them to us.
Awesome.
And the family is good there, Ryan?
Yeah, thanks for asking. And how about yourself? How's the fam?
Yeah, well, it's good. Like when I come to Jamaica, I realize how ridiculously big my family is.
Ooh, yes.
It's just like
Nice.
crazy. A number of them are in the hospitality industry, doing okay for themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a bamboo raft. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Made out of bamboo sticks, a bamboo raft. I don't have my phone on me, but on Friday I'll show you what I had, what it looked like, and getting the massage on the legs and all that with the limestone. That was cool.
Yeah, it's so good. Did you drive by Roger Dundas's house out there?
No, he's on the other side of the island. He's the other side. But ideally, be crazy having you, Roger, and myself host a morning vibe from down here.
Hey, that has to happen.
And which reminds people, it's coming up. Buy Blacks Restaurant Week's coming.
Yes. It should be May.
May.
Yes.
But he's already doing the work on it. So get ready to support Restaurant Week, a really great promotion and production by Roger Dundas, Camille Dundas, and the BuyBlacks.com crew. Any final words before we jump out today, sir?
No, good luck to those running for the leadership of the federal government to be the prime minister for.
When does that happen?
I thought it's Thursday, but
okay.
Yeah, I have to check the exact date.
So
I just heard it's this week.
So theoretically, by the next time we broadcast the Morning Vibe, there'll be a new Liberal leader. And does that mean he automatically becomes prime minister?
Automatically, yes.
So we'll have a new leader in this country.
Yes.
And you already see the attacks on Mark Carney ads being put out by the PC.
Yeah. So it's interesting that they haven't been attacking Christina Freeland. They haven't been attacking Frank Baylis. They haven't been attacking Karina Gold. So they feel the main threat is Carney as well.
That's their attack dog.
Yeah.
That's their attack. So it's going to be interesting coming into the coming back in there's nonstop, and who knows what 47 will have up his sleeve between now and actually he has a speech to the House of Representatives this week. It's either tomorrow or Wednesday, and he's going to talk about all the great things that he's done, all the people that he's had his co-president fire, and now they're hiring back.
Hey, this is the style that people want. What are they? The FAFO, whatever? The FAAO, whatever?
FAFO.
So everybody is finding out right now.
Yeah, they're all finding out, but I'm seeing, though, a lot of upset Americans. Actually, some friends of mine, they were walking along. I mentioned this on Friday. They're walking along the beach on the grill a few days ago, and these two white American men, hey, hi, how you doing? They, oh, where are you from? They said, oh, we're from Canada. They said, we apologize for our president.
Oh, my gosh.
They apologized, and one of them said, he's going to get assassinated.
Oh, wow. Look at this. Well, if he pisses off the farmers are not impressed, and I'm talking about down south farmers, the way that their funding is getting cut, he's going to piss off the wrong person. But I just hope whoever are his advisors some really smart ones sneak in there somehow and are able to
Buddy,
at least
it's
progress.
all about this. You know what I mean by that?
They have the kisses ring.
Kiss the ring.
God,
Kiss the
it's
ring.
unfortunate, man.
Kiss the ring.
Hopefully
All right. So let's wind it up here. So subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Let's keep it pushing, family. I want 1,610. Let's see if we can do it by Friday. Also, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe@VIBESHOW.com to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I'm a part of. Please email me dr.vibe@VIBESHOW.com. You can get a hold of Ryan Knight at Ryan O'Neill Knight. I have to always tell people KN, not
Yes.
N, KN. And LinkedIn, Ryan O'Neill Knight. Instagram, Ryan at Ryan.Knight99. An email address, work with me at RyanO'NeillKnight.com. That was interesting. A lot of interesting things down here. It's just, you just sit back and watch.
Yes.
You can get a hold of me website, thedrvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at The Dr. Vibe Show, X, drvibeshow, and email dr.vibe@vibeshow.com. I'm also on Blue Sky at drvibe.bsky.social. You can watch replays of this show at The Morning Vibe. You can watch replays at The Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And also Ryan O'Neill Knight on LinkedIn. No, not LinkedIn. Ryan O'Neill Knight on YouTube and the Afro-Caribbean Business Network on Facebook. All right. So as always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller, get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher and wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourselves grace. And if you're not making money, make history. It's best you do both.
Yes.
But, and also, make it better. We will see you. I'll be in a different location again on Friday. Ryan will be in a different location on Friday. So we keep it moment. And I hope you people, I could have said we could run replays while I was away. I said, no, let's see if we make it happen. So we've taken the conversation to the next level.
I love it.
So where do you want us to go do a show next? if you're paying, by the way. But all right. So Ryan, good to see you as always. Have a fantastic. We'll be in touch in between. Mr. Scudamore. Yes. He's the man.
All right.
You know what? I'm looking for I hope him and Dr. George Fraser get a meeting.
Ooh, that'd be amazing. Yeah,
I'd be very interested to
that'd be awesome.
be an ear on that. But I put you way past your time. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith and walk good. Take care, everybody.
This whole thing of using your business with plant-based products, don't you think your life should reflect that too?
Juke him, Carolyn. Juke him. The family loves us here because they're saying Fitness IQ Can says put a wig on to get in.
God.
Oh my God!
Like the ideas are just coming fast and furious here this morning. What? Okay, look at this. Global Women Ambassador. Good morning. Look forward. Okay.